Hey everybody, it's Meredith Miller here for your Sana Q&A Mondays. I'm here answering some more questions for you today. Remember, if you would like to ask a question for one of these upcoming Q&As, the link is below the video where you can go ahead and submit that. You will need to be logged into my website in order to be able to access that page. It won't load for you, it'll just load as like a login page. So go to innerintegration.com if you need to enter your name and email to get a private personal login to my website so that you can ask your question. So like I reminded you in the last couple weeks, the questions are adding up quickly. I'm not going to get to all of them. If you need to have, I will over time, right? But if you need to have a more immediate answer, please check out my personal email support. Or if you would like to do more in-depth work with me, I would check out my strategy sessions via Skype, where we do 90 minutes of coaching together so I can help you identify where it is that you're stuck, what you're trying to resolve and understand, and help you come up with some steps so that you can start moving forward after narcissistic abuse. So I'm going to start with this first question that says, I have been married for the last 14 years to my husband and to some degree his mom. At the beginning of the relationship, we started getting therapy. Our relationship would start to get better until he told his parents and they intervened. They told me that what I wanted in the relationship is wrong and even turned the therapy against me. I was graced with support. I had recently moved out of state and we are separate. He thought we were going to get a divorce. I felt numb. I thought I did a good job not contacting him. I thought, give it a month, give time to calm down and not fight. He didn't even wait a month and he jumped into a relationship. He gave me details and said he was ending it. He told me he loved me and wanted me back. I started to go crazy. I felt repulsed and at the same time a constant need to be connected to him. I would appreciate any advice to end this cycle. So this cycle that you're talking about, that is the trauma bond, the Stockholm syndrome, the betrayal bond, right? And in order to get out of that vicious circle, you need to identify that person for who he is. Predator, abuser, manipulator, narcissist, sociopath, whatever label you want to put on him to help you remember and realize, to really break through your understanding so that you can fully accept who he is. It doesn't sound like you're there yet. Okay, so that's the first thing, is you want to really put this label on that person so you can understand who you're dealing with, because until you see that truth and fully accept it, and again, it's not an intellectual understanding, it's like a visceral, oh my God kind of moment when that acceptance breaks through and you truly, truly get it. That's when the Stockholm syndrome, the trauma bond, is shattered. Okay, and you don't really move forward. You don't really get better until that trauma bond is shattered, because you're still going to be feeling that draw. Like you talked about feeling repulsed and at the same time this desire to be connected to him. That is exactly what the trauma bond does. It's the cognitive dissonance of you're repulsed by who he is because you know that he's a predator, you know that he's the narcissist or sociopath, a manipulator, a liar. But at the same time, he does these sweet things now and then, and you have these memories back in the beginning when he was putting on this act, and feeding you everything that he thought you wanted to hear and that you were looking for in a person, and all those little things he did along the way to dose you with that hope, that false sense of hope. So the cognitive dissonance, right? He's this, but he's this, he's this, but he's this. What is he? Right? He's a manipulator. That's what that is, right? And that cognitive dissonance will keep you exhausted. It keeps your mind stuck in there, and you're going back and forth, and then it's like it short circuits your mind in a way that then you just kind of go numb. And then you fall back into it, out of survival, you develop compassion for the abuser or the captor. That's what the Stockholm syndrome is. It's a survival mechanism. It's an unconscious survival mechanism that happens. Your conscious mind has no control over it. The only way to get your subconscious mind on board is to label that person for who they are, to keep looking at that label, to put that judgment on there. Yes, it's a judgment, and that judgment will save your life. I did another video about this a couple weeks ago, where you see a lion running in the field. your brain has to put a judgment on that. Your brain has to put predator on that judgment, because if not, you might go, oh, cute, furry, fuzzy animal, I want to go snuggle up to it. But that lion will have you for dinner because it is a predator. As cute as it might look, as graceful as it might move, as captivating as it might be to watch him in action, that is a predator. And you have to put that judgment on there to save your life, to get yourself out of the Stockholm syndrome. You mentioned being married to your husband and to some degree his mom, right? So his mom is probably the extension of that narcissism. She's obviously not willing to look at the truth. She's going to defend her son. She's trying to use the therapy against you. She's trying to intervene and tell you that what you want in life is wrong. Don't ever listen to someone like that. And I know that you probably felt really trapped because it was the mother of your husband. And I had a similar situation with my ex-mother-in-law. It was horrible. And her thing was always, mon fils, mon fils, mon fils, my son, my son, my son. And it was always that, always. And it was always like she was trying to put me, to take care of him at this level that she wanted me to take care of him. But it's so funny because when you look at your mother-in-law's life, and maybe you also need to put that label on your mother-in-law, and really understand and listen to all the things that she said that she wanted you to do for your husband, or she wanted you just to be in general. And look at the amount of projection, coming from her life. Look at the amount of hypocrisy coming from her mouth. This sort of thing, like my ex-mother-in-law would be like, you must cook for my son like this every day. And I'm thinking, this woman has slaves, servants, in her home working for her, doing all the cooking, all the food. She does nothing. She didn't do anything while he was growing up. She dumped him at his grandparents' home the entire week and picked him up every Friday and dropped him off every Monday morning. She didn't raise her son, but she had these standards that I was supposed to meet up to. So you really need to see them for who they are. Just see the bleeding hypocrisy, the lies, these expectations that she has of you. Oops, sorry, something came on my screen. The expectations that she has of you, which, are just completely unrealistic and probably untrue, her perceptions of who you are and what you want and all of that. So go ahead and put that label on her and on him to help you understand who you're dealing with, so that you don't get so confused, and listen to what they want and listen to what they're saying, because it's like they're mobbing. There's a phrase called mobbing, when they gang up against you. When these abusers get together with their flying monkeys, and then it's like, well, you're the only one who feels that way. You're the only one with this problem. Nobody else has a problem with this person but you, and so then you start to feel like it's all your fault. You start to feel very alone, very isolated in your perceptions of reality, and that's exactly what they want, because that's how they can control you. So be aware that's what you're dealing with. And great job moving out of state. I think you said you moved out of state here. Sounds like you went no contact. And I'm not sure if you're still in contact with him at all or not. I would encourage you to be no contact entirely. I would encourage you to read a book called How to Do No Contact Like a Boss by Kim Said. You can find that on Amazon. You can get the Kindle version. You can download that free app to read it on your laptop or your smartphone. You don't actually have to have a Kindle. Check out her website, which is letmereach.com, because she really gets the no contact thing. And the book is fantastic. And that, I think, will really help you to develop that resolve to cut things off and to move forward. I also would encourage you to journal all the abuse that comes to mind. You're probably having lots of flashbacks still, about what happened. I would encourage you to journal all of those things, because the abuse amnesia kicks in and you forget those things, and the brain deletes those things. And in the moment when you're trying to understand something, you can't access that. Sometimes it's really helpful to have that journal that you can go through and you can read. Just remind yourself of what those truths are, or in those moments where their words, are causing doubt in your mind, maybe just memories of their words, but they're causing you to doubt yourself. Was it really abuse? Was he really all that bad? Was she really all that bad? Go read that journal. It's going to snap you out of that. So you remember, yeah, it was that bad. Yeah, it was abuse, and it was bad. It was serious, and it caused serious harm. And that's why I feel the way I do right now. You know, that journal will really help you to validate the feelings that you have, especially when you get to that point of either self-doubt or this bullying, you know, from the outside, someone trying to get you to change your mind about your perception of reality. And, you know, I would just really encourage you not, you mentioned this new person, right, in his life. I would encourage you not to think about that new woman in his life, not to compare yourself to her, not to fall into that triangulation game that is a triangulation game where, you know, he immediately tells you, oh, well, you know, he has this other person in his life, and oh, he's gonna break it off, and or he did break it off. Like, I've heard this story so many times. Or when somebody gets back together with the ex after the hoovering took place, and then the ex had seen someone in between, and then the ex will put out this big display. I mean, I've even heard people say, like, the ex called this person on the phone in front of them and said they can't see them anymore, and that they still love this person or whatever. And all they're doing is just, that's just a sadistic game of pleasure for the narcissist and sociopath, because they're playing the game of triangulation. Either way, they're winning. You know, you got this person over here, you got that person over there, this person's jealous, that person's jealous. Everybody's competing over the schmuck over here who's essentially using everybody and abusing everybody. Those are dirty games. Don't fall into that. Don't start comparing yourself to her or to anyone else, or to feel like you're not good enough, or, you know, trying to investigate who she is online, and, you know, trying to see pictures, see, like, you know, does she compare to you and all that. I would just stay away from that. Like, every time you catch your mind going that direction, you probably notice all the anxiety, the heart fluttering in your chest, the difficulty breathing or the shallow breathing, and then your mind just starts rushing. As soon as you catch yourself looking in that direction, I would just stop, cancel, delete those thoughts, and focus on something else, something related to recovery, something related to something that brings you joy in your life, something that makes you happy, something fun, something else, right? Something that feels like you living your life purpose, something positive that's not that, because that's just going to lead you down that downward spiral crash, and you're going to feel horrible about yourself, and you're going to feel like you have to prove yourself to this person, and maybe it, like, you know, reawakens your desire to claim this person, you know, your ex, in your life again, because you feel like, well, if somebody else wants him, then maybe I was wrong. Maybe he's not abusive after all. No, don't go down that path. It's a very dangerous path, and it was set up that way. You know, let him go to her. Let him go to her. Let him go to the next one. Just let him go. And I would just not even listen to anything that he has to say. You know, it sounds like you're out of state now, so you're far away. You don't have to deal with that anymore. You're done. You don't have to deal with the in-laws. You don't have to deal with him. I would just cut all that off, go completely no contact, and focus all of your energy, attention, awareness on getting better, on healing yourself, on moving forward in life, doing the things that you actually enjoy doing things that make you feel amazing, that make you feel like you've come alive, and keep yourself moving away from the past. Because the more you cultivate this sense of passion and purpose in your life, the less you're going to think about the past. The more you generate that sense of purpose, the more it magnetizes you forward and out of the gravity of the past. So that's my advice to you. I'm sending you a big hug. Stay strong. Get Kim's book. You know, any of you, if you're having any doubts or struggles with no contact, get Kim Saeed's book, How to Do No Contact Like a Boss. She really explains it well. She gives background information about, you know, who you're dealing with, who these manipulative people are, how, you know, they're going to react in these sorts of situations, and how to do the no contact. It's really the ideal way to move forward. I'm sending you a big hug.